Hello, I'm here with Delia, Vico, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, I got it right. I'm very happy that you agreed to do this on such short notice.
Thank you.
You're just visiting for a couple of days in Denmark?
Yeah, exactly. I'm from Italy, and now I'm on a shorter trip. I've been in Finland before, in Helsinki, and now I'm here in Denmark at Royal Tattoo.
Wow. And so were you in Helsinki before coming here?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I've worked at Tatuata, which is another tattoo shop in the center of Helsinki, and now I'm here in Helsingor.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've been here before?
Yeah, I've been here the first time maybe 6 years ago, maybe 7, I don't remember. And I used to come every 2 years, more or less, just to visit the small town and stay with the guys, with Henning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good place to learn something new. All the time you learn something new.
Yeah, of course.
And join with the guys.
And I'm sure I'm going to learn something new with you here.
Thank you.
That's always the added benefit of having so many guests come to the shop is that there's always someone there. You can pick their brain and even make like a new friend. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a good project, I think.
If I'm not mistaken, the signs in front of the shop is what you've done.
Yeah, I did it last time I was there. It was 2 years ago. With Tayoba, which was working at the shop. He studied calligraphy. Yeah, we make it together.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he did it with you.
Yeah.
No, those are great. It's incredible because I've worked with Tayoba and he's been on the podcast as well. Just watching him do the calligraphy was really impressive just to see that. And I've been watching some of your videos on Instagram and you have that same fluidity that is just very impressive. Also, Zafira does quite a bit of calligraphy as well. And I haven't been surrounded by this many calligraphy artists in a long time. We were talking earlier about some calligraphy artists, and actually I used to work with BJ Betts, and he did my knuckles. And same thing, watching him just whip out script.
I've been tattooed by BJ Betts too, in Catania. It was last year, and I get a script from him, Thankful.
What is it?
Thankful.
Thankful, yeah.
Yeah, and it's dedicated to BJ Betts because at the beginning, when I started to study lettering, I don't have a lot of books or reference to look at. And I remember in London, I found 2 of his sketchbook, and I started learning, try to understand more with his sketchbook. And it was the first time that I thought it's something like mathematics. There's a rhythm. It's like a song. There's a rhythm between the small letters, the high letters, capital letters, and it came out looking at the work of BJ Betts.
Yeah. It was fun working with him. I always say it's true, but he was the one that actually taught me how to watercolor. And every time I say that, he's like, "Shut the fuck up, Brian! You don't don't ever say that." But it's true. I never did watercolor before working with him, and so he has, I guess, a good impact on both of us.
Yeah. I think also speaking with him, you see people really gentle and who want to explain you how you do. And it was nice for me to meet him in person because, as I have on my arm, I'm really thankful to this man.
Right. That's great. And what made you get into doing script in the first place?
Well, it was not my choice.
No.
So the fun thing is that I was an apprenticeship in a tattoo shop, and when people come in and ask for, some the capital letters, the first letter of name of son or some relatives, nobody at the shops want to do them. So I have to learn how to make them and how to make them fancy and how to make them fancy. Because at the beginning, people don't know anything about lettering because it was just like not a souvenir, but something to remind you. Yeah, just someone from your family, but they want just small tattoos, just to get the meanings. They never think about something that could be beautiful and fancy at the same time.
Yeah, that's the thing I see nowadays, where before, when I was doing a lot of script, only out of necessity, but we would always do a nice fancy script and it was always hand drawn. But people are very content now to have something just from the font. And I think for me, I'm content with the font as well, only because the lack of ability. But I'm sure if I were able to draw, I would really want to do it the right way. But
the first time they just look at the 2 pages of reference and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
No changes, no other idea, because they never saw anything like lettering before. Even for them, it was their first experience with lettering, and for me as well.
Wow. And then it just grew from there.
Yeah, I try to not develop, but I have to do different style, because I mean, at least in Italy, came out some lettering on arms like football player. So we have to do this Gothic style and some fine line, but fine lines came later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People just ask for this.
Just the letters.
Yeah, like, I don't know, maybe Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't born yet, but as a football player. But in Italy, the characters of the football player really influenced a lot the taste of people about tattooing.
And also clouds.
Yeah.
I haven't tattooed so many clouds ever in my life. But it's something I really appreciate. And for me, trying new styles or trying new techniques, it always gives me a greater appreciation for it. You know, when I was doing a lot of painting in the past, I never in my life thought I would do like a landscape or a still life, but I just did it anyways, just to try it out. And then I found like there were some enjoyable aspects of it, not so much for how it would look, but how I felt, I guess, doing it. I'm assuming maybe that was what you encountered when you started doing the lettering yourself. Maybe it was something that you didn't expect.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the shop where I work, as my first experience, there was 2 guys. One did tribal tattoo, like Polynesian stuff, and the other one was really focused into Japanese and figurative style. So I was more attracted by figurative style and Japanese, of course. And yeah, it was a surprise for me in the end. Not in the end, but in the last few years, doing lettering and try to improve this style.
Right.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, you were doing something that looked completely different.
Yeah. Well, since the beginning, since the first time with these teeny letters, I have to improve this lettering style. But yeah, of course, I do a lot of other stuff, like like Japanese, like not traditional. Traditional is really not my sport. No. Black and gray, like more realistic stuff. I like to do them.
Yeah, I was looking at your work, and there's a lot of portraits as well, and done very well. Like what I look for in like portrait is like very good definition between like the tones and
in the end look almost like the pictures.
Yeah, it's still a graphic. It's still very strong, and what I see is it's something that looks to me like it's gonna
Thank you.
stand the test of time, which is a good thing to look at.
I try. Thank you.
So I keep on saying so. That's my go-to. There's a whole reel of so's cut off. So. We were talking earlier about kind of the development of that, you know, trying to move past the script or the calligraphy just being a portion of a tattoo.
Yeah. What I've seen in the years is that lettering in most of the tattoos is like an accessory of a portrait, a subject, maybe some flowers, the accessory of another tattoo. What I want to do, what I'm trying to do, and what I want to develop is to make lettering a tattoo itself. Like in many cases, you see beautiful script, but of course without the background, without shadows, and maybe they are at the best of the technique, but they are not the tattoo itself. They are just with some other stuff. which is the main subject of the opera, of the work. What I'm trying to do is to think about lettering in a completely different way. I'm thinking about the whole body, like if I have to project a bodysuit only with letters, mixing different style, including some background, like if you're thinking a traditional tattoo, a traditional Japanese tattoo with the main subject, background, and other subject. You can have like flowers, like clouds, like everything you want, and it makes the tattoo complete. That's what I'm trying to do.
Making more of the flowers and the background, the accessory of the script.
Exactly. Or create a new background specific for lettering. I'm trying in the last period to add more geometrical stuff inspired by Moroccan art. I like the different style, like a straight geometrical part and lettering with a lot of flow, like in the Arabian alphabet. I think it could match also on the skin.
Totally.
It could work. I just have to try more and more and see how it comes out. Right now, I prefer to make some good experiment instead of have a perfect technique and try to create something new. And also because we don't have samples of this Arabian art on the skin. So it should be the first time that someone tried to attempt.
That. Yeah, I've been seeing some of that in your work with everything, not everything, but there's like the angles and the squares. And calligram type of things.
Yeah, exactly. I would to improve them more and more. Create a frame with the geometrical style and inside put something with a lot of flow and not so straight, but more curves.
So a mix and match of it.
Yeah, exactly.
To have a different variety. Would you do like a different variety of fonts as well? Like mixing that as well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It could work in both of ways, like mixing some different fonts or have just one font and a background. I think I have to study more to realize how is the better way, but both can work, maybe in different parts of the body.
Yeah, there's this one artist, he's not a tattoo artist, but it goes under the name Cryptic. Have you ever seen?
Yeah, I've seen his work.
That's very impressive and maybe similar to what you were kind of describing with the geometrical patterns. In the
exactly. I think he do this script in Sanskrit, which is really nice because there's on the top a straight line and on the bottom some curved line, and he get this flow really, and in the end his work looks perfect with a perfect geometry, and also he can study a lot with colors because of course it's not on the skin.
I see it a lot with the gold, and that's really beautiful. Because I don't know what it says, but I'm assuming it says something, and just the patterns and the rhythm in the spacing is very, very beautiful. So it's like there's a quite of interesting abstract pattern to it.
Because even if you don't have to write specific words or numbers, you could have a calligraphy effect, just make samples of calligraphy. Mixing straight lines and curves and diagonal and small squares like in the Arabian calligraphy without really using Arabian letters.
Yeah, I really like the torso that you did where you incorporated the neck. And there was like 3 different patterns, I believe, like a negative, a positive, and then there was abstract.
The piece in the center is by Gordo Letters, which is an artist from Portugal. He absolutely have to be in this podcast in the future because he's the one that really showed me how to change my way to think about the calligraphy and tattooing.
So he's a tattooer as well.
Yeah. And the tools he used and his techniques really inspire me since I saw him the first time. Then I had the pleasure to work with him 2-3 times. It really changed the whole way I see and how I work with lettering.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It almost looked like what I admire in Sumi paintings, where there's like force to it. You can see a direction, and you can almost see where, like, say, a brush or the tip of the pen touched down and
exactly.
lifted off.
I think he is really the inventor of this abstract calligraphy technique.
Tell me his name again.
Gordo letters. Yeah, Gordo is his name.
And tell me again where he was from.
He's from Portugal.
Portugal.
Now
okay.
He's based in London and Portugal.
Okay, we'll have to check him out.
Yeah, you have to.
See, this is the greatest thing about having the podcast, is that you just get great information.
Yeah. And he's also a super funny guy, a nice person. Yeah.
You get to travel quite often.
Yeah.
And are you able to kind of do your work all around as well? Like, yeah. Especially
in the last period, since I start with this more abstract calligraphy, I see the request improved, and I think people is a bit more ready for this kind of abstract tattooing, because at the first time they really need a meaning. Now there's more people looking for something beautiful, something more decorative, and something they love to have on their skin for themselves, not for a specific meanings or to show to someone else.
Right. Yeah, I always have this conversation with people who have their first tattoo, and I'm like, yeah, the first one, it has to mean something.
Yeah.
But after that, you can just get it because it looks awesome.
Exactly.
It looks badass.
And I like that my work is appreciated from a lot of other tattoo artists, because they already have all their meaningful tattoos. So they can concentrate on something just decorative.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it, even though it's not a style that I can do, but it's something, when I see it, I admire it for that main reason. It's something that, to me, it's magic. It's like, oh, how did she do that? How did she get her hand to move so fluidly? And
yeah, I think that comes from the practice. When I draw on the wall, it's more or less always the same movement, repeated 1,000 times.
Okay.
And that makes it it looks easy, but of course it's not. Yeah, but it's the same on the skin. I work with brushes and ink. As I do on a wall, I used to do always the same movement, repeated.
Now, are you doing a lot of the script drawn on the skin as well? Yeah.
All of my scripts are drawn on. Most of my works are freehand, of course, except for the geometrical stuff and portrait and other things. But all the scripts are in freehand.
And you find it fits the body that way better?
Yeah. And I like to make them bigger. I usually do them bigger than what the customer expect, because I think they look nice when you have a complete part of your body with this lettering.
Sure.
Yeah. I already told that I like to make lettering like a tattoo itself and not like accessory of something else.
Sure. I like that even within this framework of tattooing, you're still trying to push into a direction that has never seen the light of day.
Yeah. I think that now there are, like me, a few other artists going in the same direction. And I think it's nice because what we are doing right now, you have never seen 4 or 5 years before. And I think this is a sign that we are going in the right direction. Look at the works of other people like me working on something new. It's nice, and it's always like, it's not a challenge, but we try to push each other. Yeah,
we were talking earlier about, I guess, the different styles and how people can kind of get stuck in one working method. And, I work a lot with the Japanese, but lately I've been asking myself this question of, if that style didn't exist, what would my tattoos look like? And I've been putting a lot more thought into that as well, because I've been talking to a lot of people who are very strict in the rules and how things should be laid out, and that idea becomes less and less attractive to me. It's more like, oh, how can I look at it differently? And so I wonder if my work eventually take a different route as well.
Yeah, I think it's nice because nobody of us already know what will be the final result, and if there will be a final result. We are not really interested into the technique. We are just interested in to find something new, find something that nobody else did before. What I'm doing right now, I didn't expect the last year. So it's something that I see changing really fast, and I don't know how it looks like in the end. I'm just trying to do something new.
Is this process finding that a fun thing, or is it kind of scary at the same time? Or
I think the process is always funny because in this case, you can make mistakes. Well, it's not real mistakes. Nobody did it before. You can go for a while in one direction and then come back on your path and change again. It's nice because every day you have the opportunity to do something new. Because when people start to see your works, you used to ask for that. But in this case, because there are only few, you can talk with the people and try to explain that they can have something more. And it's nice.
And do you find people fairly open to that now?
I think that people that comes to me asking for this abstract calligraphy or for calligraphy are already open to this.
They already know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
That's great.